Welcome to This Week at the NCPA Episode 2. It tells you what's going on stage as well as off stage at the National Center of the Performing Arts. This week, it's the Wunderkinds. Talented young musicians take the stage on the 12th of August. It's 6:30 p.m. at the Tata Theatre. NCPA tickets are out now on Book My Show. They're going out fast. Alternatively, on ncpamumbai.com. And to speak about the Wunderkinds, here's Samantha Noella, a leading vocal coach as well as one of India's leading vocalists. She's performed all over the country and has performed multiple times at the NCPA. She's part of the Wunderkinds property in the capacity of a vocal coach. Hi Samantha, how are you?
I'm very well, Hrishi. How are you doing? Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Sudhir Nagpal is one of the members of the NCPA Jazz Committee. He conceptualized the Wunderkinds property. Hi Sudhir, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. A little excited. Very excited actually for the show coming up, and a little tired because Samantha, I and Faustin have been pushing the kids a bit, to get that limit, push them to that bar. So yeah, that's it.
Justifiably so. What was the initial idea and focus behind starting Wunderkinds? Also, talk to me about what I imagine is a German connection as far as the pronunciation is concerned.
Yeah. So, I'll tell you about the name later. This comes from a mentor that I grew up with. And I want to mention his name. It's Louis Banks. And many, many years ago, I was a young drummer like you have the ones now in Wunderkinds. And he had these workshops at the Information Center of the USIS. And he was teaching us jazz. So I went to that and really, really learned a lot along the way because it was every Saturday and Sunday for a whole year. In what happened to me was I transformed from a rock musician into a jazz musician. That was a complete transformation. And he would just put us on stage and say, there's a show coming up. After 1 year, he wouldn't tell you that. He'll call you the All-Star Jazz, Louis Banks All-Star Jazz Band, and put you up on stage. In this experience, over time, I met so many musicians. I actually learned how it was to perform with them, interact with them of different backgrounds. Here, internationally as well. They would come down, we'd play with them. I met Samantha later, but we've all gone through this, experience. And I just sort of felt that there's time to give back at some point. I'm not really an educator, but I wanted to give back. That was an idea which I mooted with the NCPA at that time, maybe 5-6 years ago. So why don't we encourage youngsters the same way I was encouraged to come together, give them a platform on stage. In fact, the way digital music had taken over, they were barely even playing on stage. They were just playing in their rooms with their headphones, and they were not even interacting with others. They were probably on Zoom meetings. So we said, put them together. And I even called Samantha at that time. Samantha, would you like to join in and guide us? So what she did was she actually sent us all the students. The best of the singers you have today, including Ishan, is actually a student. And this really helped me because one of her teachers, Anandita, as well joined us. And Samantha may have been guiding them at the background because like a mentor from there. And let me tell you, that really helped a lot. So that was the roots of the whole thing. And the word Wunderkinds, actually, I just realized yesterday because somebody asked me the same question. We were thinking of names. I have a list of about 10 names. I found them on a word file just now. And we had thought of Wunderkids. But Wunderkids is very cliched, right? It sounds like, Batman, Superman and all that. So my kid's godmother is German. And she had flown down around that time, to meet my kids. And she kept saying, Wunderbar, Wunderbar, how are the kinders? So I put it together and created Wunderkinds, because that's multiplicity. And at that time, I checked one more thing, just to add, if you want to hear this. Google didn't have this as a word when I was searching for it. Wow. Yesterday, I went online and I found Wunderkinds as a word. So I don't know.
So you contributed to its addition to the
I don't know,
dictionary.
maybe. I don't know. It happened that way because Google has this way of searching for words, but it wasn't an existing word at that time. It's there now. So that's great, isn't it?
Well done.
Go ahead.
Samantha, what's the audition process? What are the qualities you look for? I understand it's under 21 musicians. So how does the shortlisting happen?
What happens is the NCPA pretty much sends out puts out an audition, like a little circular that goes out to schools, to anybody all over the city. And anybody who's between the age of 8 to 21 can send in an entry. You can send in multiple entries because if you play multiple instruments or sing as well, you sing as well as play, you can send in all those auditions. Now, this year we got over 300 entries. I remember way back when Sudhir just started, I think it was about in 2017 or 2018. At that point in time, there were, I think he got 60 entries and they brought it down to 30. And then the next year as well, it was about 70 entries and it was 35. But last year we had over 200 entries, 250 I would say, and we shortlisted to about 60. This time there were over 300. And so we landed up with finally about 70, 73 students. Even if you've been part of Wunderkinds before, you still have to re-audition. We don't take it for granted that you're going to get through. And I think that's really good because that makes every single participant, really rise up in order to make it. And I think it's striving for excellence more than anything else. It's nothing is taken for granted. There's no, oh no, you don't have to worry about auditioning. And I think that's really great. That's something that we encourage with every single student so that they're always bringing their A game. That's one of the things. When the students send in or when the participants send in their auditions, there is a panel of us that actually sit through the process. We are first listening through, I think 300 and then shortlisting it. Because otherwise it's impossible for us to sit through 300 auditions over 1 or 2 days. So we pretty much try and shortlist those who kind of make it to a certain level. We call those then in and do live auditions. So we're sitting almost through 2 days of auditions just to, of course, it's stage presence, it's, how they can sing. If the song is appropriate for them, we give them first they can send in anything that they want. When they come in for the live auditions, we give them a set of songs that they have to prepare one of, like maybe about 7 or 8 songs. And from there, whether you're playing drums, whether you're playing a guitar, all those kind of things, and you come in and in most cases we kind of put you together and see how you can work instantly as a band. Most students who are coming to us at this point in time are probably singing individually or they're playing an instrument, just going for a piano lesson or a voice lesson or a guitar lesson or a drum lesson, but very few of them are actually playing together as a unit. So some of them, what we do is when Faustin's been there, he'd go out and say, okay, whoever's on this song, get together. If you're a drummer, you're a guitarist, you're this thing, I want to see what you're doing on stage. And if everyone's playing it in the same key, then we're pretty much going in there. So we're already kind of getting them into that whole scenario of thinking not as just individuals, but I think as team builders, as team players. So I think that is something that we really stress on. No matter how established a singer you are, you may have been on every stage, you may be in the studio, you may be doing whatever, but when you come over there, you play as a team or not at all. And that's something that we encourage from the get-go. So because each and every one takes the time out. It's every Sunday starting the first week of June that we start prepping. So it's almost 12 weeks that go into preparation for the performance. We're working on stage presence. We work on diction, of course, on their voices. We're working on the band really kind of knitting everything together. So besides the main Sunday rehearsals that happen, there are 2 other rehearsals that happen in the course of the week with just the band, just to tighten up the songs so that by the time the singers come in, we're already set with like maybe 5 songs, so that way we put the whole set together. And it's a 24 song set list. So it's not like 3 songs, 4 songs. There is no solo song for anybody. There are at least 5 to 7 singers on each song. In some of the bigger songs, there are even 12. But there's a whole band and all of them are below the age of 21.
You've got the kids excited. There's no doubt about that, Sudhir. But you want the ecosystem to be interested, to give you wings. What is the kind of enthusiasm you're seeing from schools and parents to send children to participate?
So let me share this with you. This surprised me this year because NCPA wrote to all the schools in Mumbai and we took a concerted decision not to expand this over India, because if we have 300 auditions in Mumbai, can you imagine all over India how many you'll have to do? And we'd take a month just doing auditions like they do in Indian Idol. So we restricted that. And one day I was actually online with my kids and just doing the homework. And I got this message from the principal with the entire poster from the principal to the child directly saying, "Dear so-and-so, Daniela, so-and-so, Christina, you should participate in this. This is wonderful." And, I think that was surprising to see it happen backward. And I think that created a lot of momentum. Parents started calling us up. Parents called Samantha, they called me, and those who were interested, we guided them in. But this really, I think the school took the initiative to own it. Has made a big, big difference there as well. So while there are, every student has their own teacher. Samantha probably has 50% of her singers and musicians already in this band, in the Wunderkinds. So 25, I would say, Samantha, are already your students in this.
Wow.
But
I don't make it a thing for anybody to
whatever.
They're all
equal.
Everyone is under our care. So whether you are my
Right.
student or somebody else, that's fine. I don't ever put that out because it's not fair. I think it's my students know who they are.
But it so happens that, she's one of the finest teachers we've got in the mentors here. So there are others. Each student has their own teacher. They also encourage them. I've had teachers call me up and actually talk to me. There's one or two even come for the thing and sit outside and watch and encourage their children. So there's a lot of, there's one more thing I'd like to talk about, if you don't mind, to add to what Samantha said. There are 5 things at play, 5 or 6 things that are at play in this whole thing. One is NCPA having provided this immense platform for the children. Just imagine the little theater every Sunday. Now even little theater is open for other days of practice. Equipment fully set up. When we were younger, I had to carry my drums, put it up, set it up, tune it, carry it back. Here it's being all set up. All we have to do is tune it. Equipment is set up, sound is set up. They have to just come literally on a platter and start. But what happens then? Our expectation goes up. So there is another facet at play. While there are 3 members, there are 3 mentors here. There's Samantha, who's the vocal coach. There's Faustin, who does the entire back-end structuring of the entire show. As the stage management, he's also a keyboard player, so he goes in there and looks at that. And me being a drummer, I tend to have a rhythm section, attraction. So I tend to look at the rhythm section. But very importantly, there's a core band. Today it's Ishan and Ramses from the selection who are actually driving this, and they rehearse every week in between at their houses in the studio. And all this together, and the singers are practicing on their own at home. You can think about the energy and enthusiasm that they have. And yesterday when I think somebody came in and took some videos, one of your team, somebody came and took some videos. The energy level was huge. It was amazing, and they were so pepped up, and we were surprised. We were worried, are they going to perform? And wow, they were ready. So I think basically having an audience, knowing very well that their parents are going to be in there, their friends are going to be in there, encouraging them, there's going to be, I think the enthusiasm is extremely high.
Now, the atmosphere at rehearsals, the Sunday rehearsals, Samantha, as opposed to the day of the grand finale performance, what is the atmosphere like? So start at the rehearsal and then go to the grand finale.
Yeah. So what is interesting is that we have made it a habit as soon as they get in for us to do a complete warm-up. So whether you're a drummer, whether you're a vocalist, whether you're a guitar player, everyone does vocal warm-ups, everyone does stretches. So they're already getting into the habit of, kind of really getting into the practice, into proper practice mode. There is, of course, there's great level of excitement, but there's also so many of them meeting new friends. Invariably, you'll see a little bit of them ganging up and, working their own little click out and all those things. But because everyone is on different songs with other people, I think there's a great level of camaraderie. And that is what it has to be, because the idea is to help the others so that we are together building everybody up. And it's not like, it's like, I know sometimes like some of the little girls or boys might laugh at somebody else, whatever, and that's just being a child, so we're just kind of drawing attention to those kind of things and saying, it's fine to make a mistake, but we all want to learn from it. But the idea is for us to help each other. And I think that has been our standpoint from day one, that it's about, uplifting everybody and each of us get together so that you can do a phenomenal show about the team building, about being a better singer, a better human being, a better musician, rather than I'm just here for myself. And then when you see the amount of effort, there are a couple of them who kind of pretty much take over in case, like, we are doing something else. It's really lovely to see how the older ones are helping the younger ones, and somebody else is working choreography, someone's working costumes. So there's a great vibe, and I think there's a great energy that you get with just the not only the youth, but sometimes there's the innocence, the playfulness. Of course, we've got to like reel them in from time to time, but I mean that would be in any situation. But I think they're really excited now that they know, we're 5 days away. I think they're getting much more excited. They're, I think, much more committed to the practices. Everyone's learning up their lyrics, working on choreography. So it's very motivating for us as well. For me, I think yesterday when I heard a couple of the songs, it was me getting all motherly and almost breaking into like tears. Just yes, 12 weeks with these children from all parts of the city who've come together. So I'm really very proud of them, because I think they've made some really like huge progress. Some of them, I mean, lots of them came in very talented already, but to help and to actually, I think in doing so you get better at what you are, so and what you do. So
So lots of the kids from Wunderkinds have gone on to be professional musicians. Some even collaborating with each other in bands.
Yeah.
I'd like you to point out a few of them, please.
So let me start with the first one, where we had created a core band out of nothing. There was somebody I knew, a young gentleman called Rishi. Okay, not Rishikesh, your Rishikesh, Hrishi Giridhar. And he was preparing to go to London to study master's in economics. So he was all prepared to do that. But he had some free time and he was very talented. So I said, can you form a core band? Now, that was the first core band around which we built the entire Wunderkinds. And he got friends into it, people from Ahmedabad and others who are not professionals at that time. Rishi continued the next one, and he continued there. And after COVID, he actually did his master's in economics. He came back, and he had been collaborating with some fine Indo fusion bands. But now I hear that he is doing music for Netflix.
Nice.
Scores for films on his own. And he gave up. He decided, I finished my master's, but I'm going to continue music. Now, if you look at some of the others now who are there today, we had Sanket, I don't know his surname. He was a fine drummer. He formed a band with Ramses, Ishan, and some others, and they're doing a blues band. Plus, he also plays with Shan. Like this, there was Chanel. I think Chanel also is part of a band here. There are quite a few others.
Bombay Coalition.
Yeah, Ishan himself has decided to again do some master's studies, but I'm sure he's going to come back and do something in music. Ramses, and I had a talk with Alanis on the bass player, who had to take a decision. She called Samantha as well, and she was literally toying between doing an MBA and music. So I said, you come from music family, don't give that up, but finish your MBA. So I think this is what's going to happen. I think they're all going to do something education-wise to earn a living, but as musicians, they're all going to come back. And let me tell you, the level of talent is just amazing. What every musician can do today, I have not seen for a long time, at least in the last two Wunderkinds. The level of musicmanship for a child. There are children. I mean, there's a young girl, 8-year-old drummer. Last year, we had a 10-year-old drummer. He's still there. There are 2-3 10-year-old drummers. They're backing singers who are being taught by Samantha at very professional level. I mean, they're really, backing 20-year-olds. And you should see the level at which they're performing. So this is amazing to see. And I get very emotional. I'm also very passionate about it. Sometimes I get angry because if things don't happen, and I tend to be critical. But you get emotional when you see a child coming in raw, has been performing with a metronome at home or singing with a karaoke, sitting on stage and belting it out. There's a young drummer, I don't need to mention him. The reggae drum beat is one of the most difficult drum beats to play on. It sounds very easy. Most people do it wrong. It took me 10 years to learn it. I learned it from the Bob Marley band themselves. They'd come to India. This young boy is playing a song which has got a reggae beat, and he was doing it poppy. So I just showed him that. The next day he came prepared and he was bang on the reggae beat. I was so surprised that a 10-year-old could do that. Now that encourages us. That encourages us as mentors and teachers to do more, going there, going back. That I'm sure this happens to Samantha and Faustin. We get calls from parents during the week. or directly from the students. How can you help us? Can you help us improve? Can you do that? And Samantha also says, come to my office when I'm free, I'll guide you. And that encourages more, Would you believe that every child comes before us at 9 o'clock, they're all waiting in there at the NCPA?
Wow.
And we come in around 9:10, have a quick tea, and by 9:15 we start, bang on. And by 1:15 we are done. This has been happening continuously. Yeah? And people are coming in from where? Nala Sopara, Navi Mumbai. Ishan drives in from Navi Mumbai with his parents. The parents are all sitting outside, encouraging them. There's a whole thing happening there. So I must say that parents have been a very important part of this, encouraging the children. But the the transformation is what I think Samantha is talking about, where you were alone at home, you didn't have musical friends, you had a school band. And everyone thought in school you were the best musician. When you landed up over here, you realize there's lots more to go. And in this new interaction and this age difference and the level at which they are performing, because it's now at the Tata Theatre. So
yeah.
It has to be at that level, right? They're actually coming up to that. There are times, I'm being frank, there are times I even told Faustin and Samantha, I think we need to pull this one out and change and reallocate. Faustin used to tell me, give them a chance. Don't be so tough. Give them a chance. So I stayed back. And that chance, and the ones we were most critical on, the ones who are performing brilliantly. And the ones we were less critical on, they've gone a bit loose. So now they're going to get some critique from us. So, this is how it is.
There you have it, the Wunderkinds. You were saying, Samantha? Sorry.
I said sometimes, they get a bit complacent. And we're little kids. And oftentimes, without realizing everyone's putting them up to this, we just have to keep them on solid ground, to stay focused and steer the path. Because, stay on the path rather than steer off. It's very easy. I think that happens to anybody and everybody. But the mere fact that if you're focusing on your craft and on working on your art and being really authentic, being dedicated is what makes the difference. So
great. The Wunderkinds, talented young musicians, 12th of August, they're at the Tata Theatre, NCPA, 6:30 p.m. Tickets are at Book My Show as well as ncpamumbai.com. Please come, show them love and support, because this is really the present and future of music in this country. Sudhir Nagpal and Samantha Noella, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it and hope to speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. All the best.
Okay, continuing with This Week at the NCPA, episode 2, all the happenings on stage as well as off stage. What is massive is what's going to happen on the 19th and the 21st of August, 6 p.m. on the 19th, 7 p.m. on the 21st. Maestro Zubin Mehta with the Symphony Orchestra of India. And it is a momentous occasion, and we had to get people to speak about it. Marat Bisengaliev and Xerxes Unvala join me. Marat is a world-renowned violinist. He hails from Kazakhstan. In 2006, he is, I would like to say, the father of the Symphony Orchestra of India, along with NCPA chairman Kushu Santuk, and he's been the music director since. Apart from performing regularly with the SOI as violinist and conductor, Marat is the driving force behind the SOI Music Academy, which we shall talk about a little bit. The SOI's flagship education project, that is. Nice to see you, Marat. How are you?
Yes, I'm better and better. It's nice to be here.
Great. Xerxes Unvala is General Manager of the Symphony Orchestra of India and Western Classical Programming at the NCPA. He's worked in the field of arts management for over a decade and a half, previously in the International Programming Department at the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, Washington, D.C. Hi, Xerxes. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Hrishi. Lovely to be here. Thank you.
The sense of occasion, Xerxes. Zubin Mehta with the SOI for the very first time. This has got to be massive. We know it'll probably sell out in a few minutes, but talk to me about that.
Yeah, well, we actually already sold out. Zubin is one of those artists in Bombay. There is never a question about that. So, this is something we've all been looking forward to for a long time. You may know this concert was originally supposed to happen in November and unfortunately had to be postponed, which I know the audiences and Marat and the musicians were, of course, disappointed about. But I think everyone was determined, including Maestro Mehta, that we will make sure it does happen. So we're really looking forward to it. Zubin Mehta is easily the biggest Indian name in Western classical music, but also one of the biggest names, I think, in Western classical music globally. So to have him perform with the SOI for the first time is it's a special moment.
Marat, this must be so special for you. Graduates of the Symphony Orchestra of India Music Academy will be playing under Zubin's direction for the very first time. How special is that for you, for the academy, and for the musicians themselves?
Well, needless to say, it's of course very important moment for everybody, for the academy, for the SOI, and of course it's also a nerve-wracking experience because we want to bring him the best possible orchestra. We also want to show our academy, our orchestra, which he kindly agreed to listen to. So the preparation goes kind of in full flow, and we kind of trying not to leave any stones unturned.
Marat, can you tell us what the two concerts shall feature, the 19th and 21st? I believe there's a bit of Mozart in there, there's Schubert in there, Mahler in there. If either of you gentlemen could tell us about the pieces.
Well, originally we were thinking about Beethoven because Beethoven sells, but of course Maestro doesn't need. They already sold out. Yes, whatever he performs is always will be something. It always says all the tickets will be gone in a few minutes. So we thought about something special, and together with our chairman, Hrishi, we discussed quite a lot because Mahler, number one, is a very special piece, but also it requires quite a large process. So we had to judge many ways, some logistics, and finally we came to solution. Yes, we have to kind of bring and present to people something special. So we're bringing a large orchestra this time, and Mahler 1 is a centerpiece, of course, of this program.
The student orchestra recently performed in Pune. How did that go, Marat?
Well, that was a real success. We had about 100 people outside standing in monsoon because the tickets were all sold out and they didn't expect. So they came and they were standing patiently, and somehow we just decided to let them for the second half because we were really sorry to see them kind of very stoically waiting with the hope to get to this concert. So they were standing at the end of the day. They were standing, so all the venue was completely packed. And kids were happy, really happy to play in Pune, and the feedback incredibly good. I think we should do this sort of tours with the kids orchestra more often.
That's wonderful. Now, this is a special point which I'd like all of you to remember. Now, on the 19th of August, it is pretty obvious from what these fine gentlemen are saying, it is pretty obvious that the Jamshed Baba will be sold out at 6 p.m. on the 19th. So what the NCPA and the Symphony Orchestra of India have done is they've opened out the Tata Theatre, and a live screening of the concert shall happen on the 19th, 6 p.m. onwards on a giant screen. And tickets are available for that currently. They are also going out fast, so I suggest you go to Book My Show or ncpamumbai.com and block those tickets. Xerxes, excellent idea. I'm sure there'll be lots of fans who didn't make it to the Jamshed Baba who will eagerly wait for that on-screen performance at the Tata Theatre.
Yeah, I think so. We knew the concerts would sell out, but and actually in the past, whenever Zubin's performed in Bombay and at the NCPA, which in the past it's always been presented by the Mehta Foundation, who are co-presenting this concert with us this time. And they've always done this live screening in the past as well. So we know it's worked. We know there is that demand in Bombay to hear Zubin Mehta. So like you said, I'm sure those tickets will go just as quickly. And, watching it on a screen, yes, you're not in the same room, but when you're in the concert hall, you're seeing the back of the conductor, you're watching it from one angle at a distance. On a screening, you get to see Zubin's hands, his expressions, close-ups of the orchestra. So it'll be quite interesting, actually, a very different way to experience the concert that you wouldn't actually get sitting in the concert hall. So.
But also it's a big screen.
Oh, yeah.
Really quality sound. So
absolutely.
It will be different than when you're watching, for example, home.
Yeah.
Yeah, the acoustics at the Tata Theatre are fantastic in any case.
The
Marat,
atmosphere.
yeah, the atmosphere, totally. With all those fans of Maestro Zubin in the theatre watching that screen. How the academy actually functions and works, and NCPA's role in creating musicians. I'd like you to talk about that, Marat.
Well, this is the first academy, like, the orchestra is the first professional orchestra, the only professional orchestra right now. The academy is a full-time institution with the players, dash teachers, who dedicate full-time to the students. And that's the difference that make all the difference, because we have a proper sort of system, infrastructure, curriculum put in, and this is something which guarantees the result. So even now we can see that the graduates who we started already getting kind of the first graduates, 11-year course. We're getting graduates who already reached the level to play in the orchestra. And we have some players who are already playing in the orchestra. So with the Zubin during the season, and also for the forthcoming UK tour.
Wonderful. Xerxes, my last question is to you. This is, other than the work that the academy is doing, the fact that you go out there and you're doing the best to reach out to musicians across the country. Musicians live and perform with you because you give them a stipend, and that is a special program at the NCPA, at the Symphony Orchestra of India. I'd like you to throw some light on that.
Yeah, so I think one of the most important things for the SOI since its founding, and what our chairman Coach Wunderkinds, Marat, and all of us strongly behind, is how though we're sitting in our corner of Bombay, how we can reach out to musicians around the country and really provide a platform to support musicians from around the country. So the program you're referring to is what we call our traineeship program, where we seek out talented young musicians from wherever they are in India. They will audition, typically video audition first, and then audition in person for Marat. And then the ones that are selected come, live in Bombay, rehearse with the orchestra, train with a mentor or teacher in the orchestra, and ideally over, whether it's a year or two, become full-time members of the orchestra when we feel they've reached that level. So we've had several musicians come through that way who are now full-time permanent members of the orchestra. The other thing we're looking at now is trying to support the work that music education institutions around the country are doing. So we've run pilot projects in Goa and Kalimpong, sending some of our teachers there, bringing their teachers here, to see how we can expand the work we're doing with the academy and the traineeship program in Bombay to cities around India. I know Marat would love it if we had an academy in every major city in India, but I think that's really what we're trying to figure out, is how we can support the education work happening elsewhere using the resources and what we have here in Bombay.
Excellent. There you have it. It's the Symphony Orchestra of India, our very own homegrown orchestra. We should be proud of it. Along with Maestro Zubin Mehta, 19th and 21st of August at the Jamshed Baba. It is co-presented by the NCPA and the Meli Mehta Music Foundation. Marat and Xerxes, thank you very much for speaking to us. And take care of yourself. I hope to catch up with you soon.
Thanks, Hrishi. You too.
Pleasure.
94.3 Radio 1.